Rob is saying, how do Muslims in Australia and New Zealand compare to Muslims in other Western countries in terms of their views and values, e.g., free speech, religious freedom, gender-related issues, LGBT issues? Are they more similar to British Muslims or North American Muslims in this regard?
I wouldn't say. No, I think there would probably be more like North American, because, like, I mean, there was no influx of or sudden influx of Muslim refugees due to some political upheaval in the native countries. So there was a slow and steady inflow of skilled migrants. So these people were obviously educated to begin with, and they genuinely want to start a new life. Whereas when a lot of people, and Australia has been, some countries actually have criticized Australia for being very anti-boat people, as they like to call them, and we have Christmas Island where they just put them there for years and years. This was obviously popularized by Novak Djokovic's incident as well last year, when he was put in the same hotel, and there were people there for years. And Novak Djokovic being a superstar, he was just there was some court hearings done on Saturdays and Sundays. So anyway, a different topic. So I think Australian Muslims are okay, but again, Islam is still there. Like, I mean, I not long ago I got this unsolicited message from Armin's dropped. I got this unsolicited message from from some Lebanese Muslim. He's just like, "Hey, bro, why are you talking shit about my religion? I'm gonna come and get you." And then, like, I was like, "Okay," and then I was like, "Okay, just all right, but bro, calm down. I don't want to, like, you've got your real name and your real photo. I don't want to report it to the cops." And then, like, you're not going to come and visit me. They're going to come and visit you. He's like, "Oh, yeah, all right, bro, but why are you doing this?" Like, okay. So they I don't think it's as dangerous, but even in England, though, I reckon things are evolving very quickly amongst English Muslims as well. I don't know, Vidu. What do you reckon? I reckon we always said that we're going to normalize criticism of Islam. Like, this, or behead those who insult Islam or whatever. I reckon this is playing a little role. I've seen a little change amongst Pakistani people as well. And I know I'm talking only in thousands in a country of millions of people. But I think the more you do it, Armin, and you would always be our hero for that. The more we do it, the better it gets. Like, I mean, they do get a little. We always take a little bit away from them when we crack a loose joke on Prophet Muhammad. Going to have sex with all his wives in one night. Like, when we make these kind of jokes, we always take a little bit away from them. And I think even British Muslims who are exposed to this kind of Islamophobic content a lot more than Pakistani audience or people who speak other languages, I think it's having some sort of an impact on them. What do you reckon, Vidu?
Yeah, you know what it is? Do you remember that thing, that movie, Lady of Heaven, whatever it was, that Shia movie? Cancelled. Because the Sunnis came down to the cinema and they said, this is Islamophobic, this is blah, blah, blah. You to cancel it. And guess what they did? They cancelled it. Right? And this wasn't even like some far-right guy making a movie saying Islam is shit. It was just a Shia version of a Shia narrative on whatever, on historical events. And even that was too much, right? That was too much for them to bear, right? Then you see what happened with the teacher with Charlie Hebdo happened a couple of years ago, right? So there are always these things that come. Then you look at what happened in Leicester just recently. Okay, just when you think there's a bit of progress, something like this happens and it just triggers this thing. Now, when something like this happens, like what happened in Leicester, like all of a sudden, bang! It wasn't like there's a couple of fights here and there and some idiots fighting on both sides. It was almost like these guys were ready. The ingredients for that kind of unrest or for that kind of unleashing of this frustration or anger was already there. They just needed a spark. This is what it seems like every single time. They're already very well organized, very well prepared. Muhammad Ajam going from London to Leicester, all this kind of stuff. So to me, it seems like they remain quiet and then something happens and then bang. Then you realize, oh shit, we haven't actually made that much progress because these guys are still thinking like that. And I think the reason why is because they all live in the same neighborhood. They all go to the same mosque. They're all in the same enclosed area mentally speaking and physically speaking. They're all in the same thing. They don't really have to interact with the outside world that much if they don't want to, or very limited, right? And they come back and they're in their echo chamber. So when something like this happens, when the imam or whoever it is, that the community elder says, let's go, then you go. And I think that's how it is. And as long as you have these kind of ghettoized kind of areas, then it doesn't matter what I say on YouTube. They interact with their mum and dad, that uncle, auntie, whatever it is, every single day. Sure, some people might be like, "Wow, Harris said this thing, and I've changed my mind." But I think the average person, that's their world, and that's the world that they live in. And it's unfortunate because they're in these mental and physical ghettos.
I didn't necessarily mean that they've changed their mind altogether.
Yeah.
Muslim. I didn't mean that. What I'm saying that every time we do a little
Soften their approach, even
it soften them up. There would always be a mob reaction when people are in a mob, they behave differently.
Yeah,
there would always be that. And then when there's a spark, then
that's it.
And
they're ready to go.
They're ready to go. But I'm just saying, you're not gonna. Who's that Danish guy or that Swiss guy, whatever, the one who just goes and just burns the Quran and then his car was flipped and chase or whatever. He's been doing it regularly now. And the more these people keep doing it, I mean, people are eventually going to get tired of that and then nothing's going to happen. And I think Muslims are learning that. But I know, I mean, it's not. I'm not going to advise you to go and do it in front of a mob of Muslims. But even if somebody did it and they got out of there alive, I actually wouldn't be surprised. But 5 years ago, you could probably say, "Remember you did that video? Remember that? Oh, come on, name to someone."
Yeah.
So, but even then, like he got out of it. Like it was just one crazy guy, just making a show for himself, and there was a couple other Muslims as well. But it's not like, but if you did that in Sialkot or in Rawalpindi, then,
we can't compare Western Muslims to Muslims in Muslim countries. It's a different ball game.
No, but people do think that, okay, you see Anjem Chowdhury, people like that who pick up these provocative slogans,
Death to the West,
yeah. And then you see the same people, Muslims doing the same thing in Pakistan. Then you think that, okay, they're all the same, and this is what the critics.
Yeah, they're not the same. No, they're not.
Yeah, they're definitely not the same. And I would say that was my point, that there might have been similar a few years ago, or actually no, it might have been up and down. I think 2001 played a big part in that. But I definitely think that they're softening a little bit now. I got recognized this time as well in Ilford. There was a guy came up and he was with a few guys. I was like, "Hey, you're Harris Sultan, yeah, bro." I was like, "Yeah." I don't want to hold hands because in that case, they can grab me. So, but I'm like, and I hate shaking hands as well because COVID and whatever. And even before COVID, I never liked it. So I was like, "Oh yeah." So I was like, he goes, "Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube." Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, so do you like my work or you want to stab me?" What do you want to do? So it's like, "Oh no, I'm a Muslim, bro, but yeah, I reckon you should. Yeah, what you're doing, you should be able to do it." Okay, right. All right. But again, but I'm not. But I don't want to be complacent. I'm not saying that you should just go out and I'm just walking around. Athens was the only place where there were so many Pakistani refugees there. Like I saw them. That was the only place where I actually purposefully put this mask on. Because I was
Athens got a lot of Pakistanis.
Oh yeah, I think it was in North Athens or North. There's this part where there's just Pakistanis there. And I, funnily enough, I went to this shop to get a mobile phone SIM card, and when I went there, there was this guy. So he's on his iPad listening to Mufti Tariq Masood. And of all the topics, he was at that very time. He was actually talking about the mulhideens in Pakistan. I was like, luckily I had my mask on. I was like, is he gonna bring me up? Because he has never mentioned me by name, but he's actually has put me on his thumbnails. So I was thinking, oh, hang on a second. If I'm on a thumbnail of this video, whatever, so luckily I was like, okay. But anyway, nothing happened. I just walked away. But I'm just saying, you could feel intimidated. You could feel, but I think there's a bit of progress. I think there's a bit of progress.
Chalo.
Speaking of progress, let me show you some images that are within the same theme from Iran, from the protests. This is some of the attitudes that we now see. A lot of people are shocked by this image, and it got a lot of attention. It got 16,000 retweets because some people are trying to show things changing. But because I don't know if you guys can recognize this type of hijab in Iran. It's called the chador, and only very religious girls and women wear the chador in Iran, right? And
there's not mandatory, but it's not mandatory, but it's to win extra brownie points.
Yes, this is not mandatory. So if you wear it, that means like you're signaling that you are not just doing the mere minimum. You're actually very religious. That's why you're doing the maximum of what you're supposed to do, right? But you can see two Chaudhary women who are presumably very religious sitting and laughing and smiling next to two girls who illegally are not wearing their hijab at all, right? And apparently the guy who walked by them and took this picture, he said this is the most beautiful picture he has seen in the past 3 weeks, right? So just like chilling, that's normal. Like this is, I don't know, for you guys, I think this is normal to see, like a Chaudhary, like the hijabi and non-hijabi. Your hair showing in public for me still feels like, what the hell? This is like, wow. Like, I mean, my mindset is still back in 10 years ago, back in Iran. This is a major act of defiance. But it's not just a major act of defiance, it's also being respected and accepted by two Chaudhary women right next to these girls, which is very unique. That's why this got like 16,000 retweets, right? And here's another one. This is also pretty. This got 12,000 repeats. This is coming from the streets in Iran. Yeah, so this is kind of hopeful to see.
Where's the morality police?
Oh, the morality police is running out of resources. It's like
Really?
they are. Oh my god, they are hard to like. Women in Iran are just like coming out and just without hijab and just walking and just like not even protesting. They're just like, I'm just gonna protest by not just wearing my hijab. So, and there's not enough people to arrest everybody. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Like I've never seen so many Iranian women without hijab in streets just walking by. Yeah. To have your questions answered on the next live stream, become my patron today. You can do so with as little as $1 a month. Link in the description below.